25,267. That's how many votes were cast for the 2024 Twitter poll tier list, and the results are surprising. A while back, I stumbled across the Smash community Reddit tier list, and I thought it'd be a fun idea to do the same thing, but on Twitter. The Reddit one had users fill out a Google form, but the problem is Twitter doesn't like it when you post external links, so I had to use Twitter's native poll feature, which only lets you put 4 options. I could have done something like this, but the issue is people have different definitions of how many characters are high, middle, and low tier, and I can't even measure each person's boundary of the tiers since the polls are anonymous. So I ended up posting 122 polls, comparing characters directly. Let's look at the first poll to see how this works. It asks, which is the best of these 4 characters? Inkling got 24 votes, Rosalina got 40 votes, DDD got 12 votes, and Olimar got 217 votes. Each pair of characters is treated like they're versing each other. So for example, out of the 257 people that voted for either Olimar or Rosalina, we know that 217 of them think that Olimar is better than Rosalina, and 40 think Rosalina is better than Olimar. This is treated like Olimar and Rosalina versing each other in 257 matches, where Olimar wins 217 and Rosalina wins 40. The same idea is repeated for each pair of characters in each of the 122 polls. Then I fed that information to the Bradley-Terry model to get the final tier list. I won't bore you with the details of the Bradley-Terry model. All you need to know is it's an algorithm that turns competitive match data into player rankings. Since these aren't matches or players, it's not really meant for this. It's not perfect, but it works surprisingly well, and I thought it'd be fun. Alright, without further ado, I present to you the results of the 2024 Twitter poll tier list.
Ganondorf, Little Mac, King DDD, Dr. Mario, Piranha Plant, Zelda, me Sword Fighter, Isabelle, King K. Rool, Simon Richter, Kirby, Villager, Ike, Robin, Mewtwo, Ridley, Lucario, Bowser, Jr., Jigglypuff, Duck Hunt, Mark, Banjo and Kazooie, Me Gunner, Pichu, Link, Chrom, Lucas, Wii Fit Trainer, Donkey Kong, Bowser, Meta Knight, Ice Climbers, Inkling, Incineroar, Captain Falcon, Sephiroth, Hit Dark Hit, Rosalina and Luma, Violet, Toon Link, Ken, Ness, Hero, Ryu, Falco, Greninja, Mega Man, Young Link, Sheik, Luigi, Olimar, Zero Suit Samus, Shulk, Pokemon Trainer, Lucina, Mii Brawler, Wario, Terry, Sora, Corrin, Wolf, Pac-Man, Roy, Mario, Yoshi, Bayonetta, Palutena, Samus, Dark Samus, Diddy Kong, Peach, Daisy, Cloud, Min Min,
Kazuya Mishima,
Fox, Pikachu, Snake, Joker, 5, Pyra, Mithra, 4, Rob, 3, Mr. Game & Watch, 2, Sonic, the champion is Steve!
So that is the tier list. What do you think of Twitter's opinions? Let me know in the comments. At the end, I'll show you an animation that illustrates exactly how this list came to be. But first, I want to look at the placements that stand out to me. In February of this year, 6 months before this tier list, Luminosity released the so-called official tier list, compiled from the votes of only top players. The Twitter tier list ranked 62 of the 82 characters within 5 spots of Luminosity's tier list, and 11 characters were in the exact same spot on both lists. Ganondorf is unsurprisingly at the bottom of both lists, rated the worst character in all 5 of his polls except for one, where he hilariously got more votes than Ryu, probably because Steve was also in this poll and people just wanted to vote Ganon as a joke. Later, I'll go over how I fixed the issue of these clearly inaccurate joke votes. Speaking of Steve, he won all 5 of his polls in complete landslides, solidifying his spot at the top. Only 3 characters had a double-digit difference in placements between the two lists, with the biggest being Donkey Kong, a whopping 14 spots higher according to Twitter users. Pikachu is probably the most interesting top-tier case. He was 9 spots higher on the Twitter tier list, which might not seem like much until you consider the fact that he cut his rank in half, going from number 17 to number 8. 2 other notable top tier differences were Peach and Daisy dropping from number 7 to number 13, and Diddy Kong dropping from number 9 to number 14. And here on screen is every other notable difference in the lists. I also wanted to quickly look at the differences between the Twitter tier list and what originally gave me the idea for this, which is the Reddit tier list released at the beginning of 2024. Donkey Kong is also the largest difference, since Reddit put him pretty close to where top players put him. But surprisingly, the second biggest difference is Bayonetta, with Twitter putting her 11 spots higher than Reddit did. Here are the rest of the major differences. I've got one more treat for you, but first, if you've made it this far, you probably enjoyed my video, so make sure to like and subscribe to tell YouTube that. This is a barrier chain. It shows the results after each poll and how the tier list changed over the course of all 122 of them. The lines, or barriers, between adjacent characters represents how large the gap is between those two, and they're ordered in a snaking path so that there isn't a jump from one line to the next. There were actually 3 parts to these polls. In the first 2 parts, characters were each randomly assigned to 4 different polls. In part 1, all the polls asked which of the 4 characters was best. This is the poll where Ganondorf beat Ryu, and it's why part 2 asks which of the 4 is the worst. Because of this tweak, low-tier characters got more votes in part 2 and thus a significant amount of accurate data to go off of, which would vastly outweigh any pity or joke votes they got in part 1. In these polls, a vote of course counts as a loss instead of a win. After part 2, a preliminary list was made to decide the groups in the final round, where each character was in 2 polls with other characters 2 to 3 spots above and below them on the preliminary list. This final part had double weight, because the polls were comparing characters close to each other on the tier list, making them more important. I had a lot of fun making this, so I hope you enjoyed seeing how it turned out. This has been Shu, I'll see you later, peace.